Gang, let's talk for a moment about what the FCC is actually doing when it comes to providing regulations. What are they regulating? Well, they're primarily regulating what's going on at layer 1, right? They're dealing with the radio frequency itself. So what are the frequencies? What are the amplitudes? What are the modulation techniques that can be used? What about the hardware itself that's used to send that out? How is that defined? How is that interoperable? So, for example, all right, here we see in the bullet points. One of the regulations that the FCC standardizes is the fact that antennas need to use a unique or proprietary antenna. For example, Cisco uses the RPTNC connector for their antenna. Again, you can have like a high gain omnidirectional antenna, for example, from Cisco, can only really be installed through a professional installer, right? Someone who's certified in all the rules and regs and knows what they're doing. And that can be an exception to the rule and use a more standardized type N connector in that circumstance. So FCC's Title 47, Part 15 provides a lot of standards, including the fact that, right, you got to use the right antenna. Again, that you could exceed the regulations of other countries, which could cause interference. There can be fines, right? So all of this kind of thing is what's being defined here. And again, that's applying to United States users or anyone else who follows the FCC standards. Different countries have different standards. If you're following the European standards or the Japanese standards, they're going to look a little different. The fines will be different. Again, they have their own definition. Let's take a moment and jump over and take a look at the FCC standards. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the standards. ECFR.gov is a website that has the Electronic Code of Federal Regulations. Pretty cool, right? So you want to notice the regulations, you can look them up. It's exciting as looking up tax code, only it's, in this case, going to relate to, let's see, what are we looking at? Agriculture, aliens, banks and banking, labor. Here we go. Number 47, telecommunication. That's the one. So we're going to go to the telecommunication standards. And you can see we have several different bodies that have standards. The FCC is one of them, as well as the Office of Science and Technology. But we actually want to look at the FCC, and we're actually going to jump to, we're looking for Part 15. So we're going to jump to the 0 through 19 section here. And here are the different parts. So again, the emergency alert system. You know that sound. Here's radio frequency devices, 15. That's what we're looking for here. And so we can open this up and we see these different sections. So TV, broadcast, all that sort of thing. Here we have intentional radiators, antenna requirements. Gang, this is going to apply to us because our Wi-Fi devices are intentional radiators with antenna. So if we take a look at this, we can see an intentional radiator shall be designed to ensure that no antenna other than that furnished by the responsible party shall be used with the device. The use of a permanently attached antenna or of an antenna that uses a unique coupling to the intentional radiator shall be considered sufficient to comply with the provisions of this section. The manufacturer may design the unit so that a broken antenna can be replaced by the user, but the use of a standard antenna jack or electrical connector is prohibited. In other words, it doesn't have to be soldered into place. You can have connectors that attach and detach, but it does not. But it's got to be a proprietary type. It does not apply to carrier current devices or to devices operated under the provisions of these other components, and does not apply to intentional radiators that must be professionally installed, such as a perimeter protection system, field disturbance sensors, and intentional radiators, which must be measured at the installation site. However, the installer shall be responsible for ensuring that the proper antenna is employed so the limits in this part are not exceeded. Wow, stuff is crazy good, isn't it? Doesn't it just make you want to read the entire Title 47 code about telecommunication and what's going on, or at least Part 15? I mean, this is good stuff. Well, if you did, you would know the actual government regulations that apply to how signal is broadcast out, right? Serious definitions here. And when it comes down to the law, this is the law that we're reading right here.